Well, what is our project today? I am going to show you how to fix squeaky hinges on your doors. We're going to use this stuff right here. Went down to the hardware store and I wasn't quite sure what kind of grease I was going to get, and I saw this. It's a multi-purpose white lithium grease. I thought, wow, that should do me. And I've just got a little piece of cardboard here. And I've got it on top of a box, and I'm going to use that for my little station. And what I'm going to have to do is I've got to get up there and I've got to take these hinge pins off. I just don't know how else you could do this if you didn't get a little piece of cardboard. You know? I was thinking before that, okay, how am I going to do it? Squirt a little bit of this on here. I mean, I guess I could have done that and then done it down on the cardboard, but this way works just as well. If you didn't have the cardboard, you'd have to do this with your fingers and then wipe your hands off every time you did one little hinge pin. Granted, I still have a little bit up here at the tip. I try to get it up as close to the head as I can, but even if you're a 1/4 inch, 3/8 short, as you put this down in the hinge, some of this grease goes back up and will come up to the top. Okay, so you can't get it all the way up to the tip of this, don't worry. Okay. Now when you think you're done with these hinges, go on the other side of the door. Here we are on the other side, and look and see if there was any grease coming out. And see, there's a little bit right there. Okay. And look at that, there's a little bit right there. I'll have to take a rag and wipe these down, I think. That would be a good thing to do. Open and close the door a little bit. Like I showed you, even if they're not, even if it's not squeaking, say. And then afterwards, take your rag or a paper towel or something and just re-wipe it. Because depending how thick of grease you put on there, it's going to start coming out of the knuckles joints, okay? So do the best you can. I'm just going to check it. Even the bottom, because of the hinge pin, that could have a little bit of new grease on it. But trust me, this is going to be the best thing for your doors. And I'll wager you've never done this on your doors, even if you're in a house that's 30 years old and you've been there for 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, whatever. Spend a little time on your stuff. You'll see what I'm talking about. These doors will open and close easier, especially your front doors too, by the way. And it'll stop your squeaks, depending how bad. If your door's squeaking a whole lot, maybe your door's rubbing, maybe it's sagging and hitting your door jamb. You may have to adjust that a little bit first. I've got all kinds of videos on that, on how to adjust a sagging door, or adjusting the sagging door, fixing a sagging door, fixing a rubbing door, anything like that. Type that in my search area on YouTube. And I've got all kinds of videos on that kind of stuff. But once you get your door working fine, now's the time to use that grease. Okay? Don't forget. Yeah, so just because I have so many doors and stuff, and they're 8-foot tall doors, what I'm going to end up doing to make it a little bit quicker for me is I'm going to take the top hinge pins off first of the doors, you know, of one area, let's say. take all those off first. Then I can work on just those, putting the grease on them and all. Then after that, then I can do everything from the ground for the rest of the 3 hinges. Yeah. Have a game plan and get her going. I got my paper towel out. I've got everything set up. Once I start, I'm not stopping until I'm done. Now here's something that might come up. I took the top hinge pins off first, did those, and I took the 3 hinge pins and just lifted them up a little bit so I could grab them and at one point. And then I took these 2 middle hinge pins out all the way, greased them up. But on some hollow core doors that are 8 foot tall, when I got ready to put the hinge pins back, this one was all lined up fine. This one was off, and I couldn't wedge the door because I'm by myself. I didn't have somebody on the other side. Okay, push on it hard right here. And so I left this one down just, you know, the top hinge knuckle. And then I worked on the bottom one. I took the bottom one off, and then I greased that up and got ready. And so once I had that out and got ready to put the pin back in, then I had enough room, because both of these were loose, to kind of pull the door back a little bit and tap this one in, and then align this one and tap that one in. Okay, so on 8 foot tall doors, you can do it. Just do it in sequence. I do the top one first, and then the 2 middle ones, and I do the bottom last. Now here's the double doors going in to the bedroom, and these happen to be solid core doors and not hollow. But I just wanted to show you something. See that black stuff up there? Right there on the door casing and the door jamb. Well, actually just the door casing. That's that stuff that comes out of the hinges. And I should have done this about a month ago after the doors were painted, but I didn't. So I'm gonna have to do it now. And on the back side, see that right up in there? That's a little bit of hinge spray that came out of here that got right on there. So I'm gonna have to clean that too. I'm gonna use simple green when I do that. I'll do that at the end after I get done with this entire job. Okay? I had all these doors and casings, door jambs painted. Your doors and frames might already be pre-finished, painted white, so all you've got to do is clean all that stuff off. And I would suggest putting all of your grease on your hinge pins first. Open and close the door back and forth. Wipe off the hinges on both sides. Anything that kind of comes out of these holes, top, even the bottom edge, and on both sides of the door. You know, like I was showing you before. After you open and close the door, a lot of times after you put the grease in, you'll find that some of this could come out, depending how thick you've put it on there. Okay, then go back and clean your doors of all that stuff. You'll see on some of them, you'll think, my word, I didn't even notice that was there. Especially they get down here in the bottom ones a lot. And check on both sides of the door, wipe all that stuff off, spray your simple green, wipe them off, sponge it off, rinse it off, and then dry it. Okay, be real careful down next to the carpet, because as you spray simple green on here and wipe it off, you might get some of the black trickle going down to your carpet. You don't want to get it on the carpet. It's hard to get off the carpet, but you could probably use your simple green to get it off the carpet. Just try to keep it off the best you can. Okay? All right, keep it going and start using that grease for your hinges. Isn't that something? In only 2 months, less than 2 months, I've already got that on there. And if I try to wipe it off, it just kind of discolors on there. It gets on my finger. and you're not going to get it all off. Use simple green. Get that stuff off. Now, can you imagine if I didn't put any grease on there, how much stuff would accumulate right there over time, over a year? Now, there'd be a mark from here on up to there. And trust me, before we painted these doors, I went around and spent, oh, I don't know, 3-4 hours or more getting all that stuff off, and then I dried it all off because the painters were coming the next day, and I thought, I'm staying here until it's done. And it was probably 8 o'clock at night before I got it all done and all dried off, because I didn't want to do it the same day that the painters were here. I'd be in their way, plus the doors would be kind of wet or moist, and I didn't want to mess with it, so I got it done before they got here. But you know, everything will be way better. That's why, you know, even after painting, I thought, shit, do I even have to do it? I shouldn't have to do it now. But yes, over time, it's just going to keep spraying out. That's why you got to grease those hinge pins, and then it should last quite a while. I have no idea. It could be another 4 or 5 years before those hinge pins dry out enough to start spraying stuff out again. We'll see. I wasn't kidding when I said periodically you're going to have to wipe your hands off. I've got simple green here. I've got just a sponge with the scouring side on there. I want to keep my hands clean from that grease, because pretty soon it gets all over. I already got a little bit on my hammer handle, on my pliers, on my little step stool that I've been carrying around. That's more better. That's all I got for this time, but I'll be back with more videos.